Picture this. You're walking into class one day, you sit down, you put your bag down, you turn around to talk to your friends. Now what's in your line of sight? Is it some kids horsing around with a trash can? Maybe it's your teacher typing away right before class starts. Or maybe you turn your attention to the wall. Maybe see some inspirational quotes to start your day. All normal classroom things, right? Now, what's not normal to see in a classroom? I'll tell you, the 10 Commandments. How does that make you feel? That would make me feel weird. Does it make you feel weird? What if you're from an agnostic or atheist background? You don't believe in Christianity. Or maybe you're from a completely different faith. Maybe you're Muslim. Maybe you're a Jew. Maybe you're Sikh. Does that make you feel excluded? Seeing not your religious text or anything on those walls? I know it would make me feel like that. Public schools need to be safe spaces for children and teenagers to feel like they can express themselves and are ready to learn. Religion in public schools should not be promoted or practiced because it violates our constitutional rights, creating exclusion and bias. Throughout the past week, I have been researching through case files, court documents, Supreme Court documents, and library databases, and even polling some of my peers to understand what are some of the reasons why it should not be allowed in public schools. So first, I'm going to start off with how it violates our constitutional rights, 2, how it creates exclusion among students, and how that exclusion creates an environment of bullying and discrimination. So, let's start at the beginning with the understanding of how it violates our constitutional rights. Public schools, they are government funded, which means they are a government building and institution. And government institutions, they have to remain religiously neutral, regardless. The First Amendment clearly states that the separation of church and state must remain separate at all times. The First Amendment says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. And unfortunately, in the case of Engel versus Vitale of 1962, they did try to violate our constitutional rights by putting school-led prayer into classrooms. But it was ruled unconstitutional because it violates our Establishment Clause of the Constitution. The Establishment Clause states that Congress will make no law respecting any establishment of religion. And in recent news, in Texas in 2023, they passed the Senate Bill 1515, which directly challenged the ruling of Stone versus Graham of 1980, when Kentucky districts tried to put the 10 Commandments visibly within the school classrooms, but it was deemed unconstitutional 5-4 because it also was unconstitutional and violated the Establishment Clause. Civil liberties organizations like the ACLU have vowed to sue the state of Texas over this bill because it violates our constitutional rights. And these legal violations, they have a significant impact on students. When you promote just one religion, it doesn't matter which one, but specifically Christianity, you create an environment of exclusion, which has a negative impact on students. For example, the Bible is the only literature of religion that you will ever see put into curriculum. You won't see anything else, which hurts. I had a peer respond to one of my questions in a discussion board, and they said that they thought the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance was cult-like, revealing that rituals and religious ritualistic practices make people uncomfortable. And teachers can also unconsciously create bias by creating in their lesson plans a Christian focus, which leaves out some students. And this exclusion leads to an environment of bullying and discrimination. Non-Christians and atheists can become targets of bullying because of this exclusion. According to the Anti-Defamation League, a civil rights organization, they said that religious minorities are more likely to be harassed, which means that students aren't going to voice their opinions in class and are afraid to speak up. I know I would if I was in a class where my teacher was super religious and I was not. I wouldn't want to talk. And also teachers, whether they know it or not, they have favoritism. And if you have a religious teacher and you have a student that is also religious and you're not, well, they may just call on them more or grade them easier, which harms other students' well-being. That's pretty awful. So in conclusion, we have 3 reasons why religion should not be promoted or promoted in public schools. First, it violates our constitutional rights. 2, it creates an environment of exclusion. And 3, that exclusion can lead to an environment of bullying and discrimination. So, for the last time, religion in public schools should not be promoted or practiced because it violates our constitutional rights, creating exclusion and bias. Public schools should be a safe place for students to learn, feel respected, and share their voices. Thank you.